Overview of the plan of approach. This study was conducted by the researcher for her individual study research. The researcher chose the topics fraction and punctuation. Each topic was broken down into two subtopics. For the topic fractions, the subtopics were unit and equivalent fractions. The subtopics, capital letters, and the comma were derived from the topic punctuation. The researcher observed that the grade 4-3 pupils of Taymat Manor Primary School performed poorly in the area of mathematics and English. This observation was made when they were given an in-class test. The topics fractions and punctuation posed a challenge to the pupils. The children performed below the level of expectation in their class tests. They had difficulty grasping the concepts of fractions, and there were also minimal usage of punctuation in their writing. To change this situation, the researcher chose the topics fraction and punctuation for her individual study portfolio so as to assist the pupils of grade 4-3 to learn the concepts of fraction and punctuation in a fun and exciting way. Additionally, they will also be able to understand fractions in a fun way as well as improve their writing and composition by using punctuation marks. Hence, the researcher decided to provide a conducive classroom environment and to construct suitable and adequate teaching and learning of the basic concepts. The objectives of the individual study were as follows. 1. To enhance pupils' understanding by using visual and manipulative materials. 2. To incorporate think-parent-share activities to improve pupils' comprehension skills. 3. To equip learners with the necessary skills, attitudes, and values as they work together using the collaborative approach to master concepts. And 4. To present information in a child-friendly way using gamification. Throughout the 4 lessons, the researcher had selected the approaches, methods, and materials she thought was best suited to teach the lessons to the target group. The researcher also planned activities which helped the pupils in understanding and grasping the topics fraction and punctuation. These activities allowed the pupils to observe, demonstrate, and manipulate the fraction and punctuation. The approaches selected for this study were gamification and collaboration. The teaching methods selected were demonstration, inductive, and activity. The materials include videos, PowerPoints, manipulatives, and worksheets. All the approaches, teaching methods, and materials were incorporated in the 4 lessons and were effectively used. The collaborative approach. As students worked using the collaborative approach to master concepts, their attitudes improved and they also learned new skills and values. Some skills that the researcher observed include listening to others, clarifying questions asked, and giving feedback. The researcher also noted that these pupils were confident in sharing their ideas and they also showed respect and were kind to their classmates. The gamification approach. The researcher also presented information in a child-friendly way. Gamification was used in all 4 lessons. The gamification approach really motivated pupils to understand the concept of fractions and punctuation in a fun and exciting way. Thus, all the objectives for this individual study research were achieved. The demonstration method. The demonstration method was used in lessons 2 and 4. The researcher demonstrated and guided pupils to fold and shade geometric cutouts in halves, quarters, and eighths. Demonstration was also done to show how commas are inserted in sentences. This method really helped the students to understand the concept of equivalent fractions and comma. The inductive method. The inductive teaching method was used in lesson 1, where the pupils were given a problem and they had to solve it and further say which fraction was larger and why. They were also asked to come up with a rule when comparing fractions with the same numerator. This method posed a challenge to most pupils and was also time-taking. The researcher had to help the pupils to discuss the problem and even assisted some of them in drawing diagrams. Nevertheless, this method helped the pupils to arrive at their answer, and also they were able to observe why the smaller denominator was indeed the larger fraction. This method can be compared to the deductive method. Most pupils are comfortable with giving them rules and then examples followed by practice exercise. Activity method. The activity method was executed in all 4 lessons. The pupils were involved in playing games, modeling unit and equivalent fractions using manipulatives, folding and shading geometric cutouts, solving problems in small groups, forming capital letters in the air, differentiating between capital and common letters, writing capital letters on chalkboard, completing practice questions from PowerPoints, inserting commas using sentence strips, and lastly, completing worksheets. These activities motivated pupils, were fun, and helped pupils to remember key information better. The Think, Parent, Share strategy. The Think, Parent, Share activities were used in all 4 lessons. However, since it was new to the pupils, it posed a challenge for them in the 4th lesson. The researcher observed that the brilliant students solved the problems and the weaker ones as well as the shy ones were not involved. The researcher also observed that some students lost direction when they worked in pair and in small groups. For the other 3 lessons, this strategy was improved as the students understood what was expected of them. At the end of the study, the researcher observed that these students had understood the concept of fractions and punctuation. The fraction manipulatives and games used really helped pupils to grasp the concept of unit and equivalent fractions. The PowerPoints, videos, games, and sentence strips also helped the pupils to understand capital letters and comma in a fun and exciting way. Thus, the pupils' understanding were enhanced by using these visual and manipulative materials. In conclusion, the teaching strategies, methods, and materials were effectively utilized in all lessons. The teaching approaches help the pupils of grade 4-3 to be more engaged, motivated, and even master the content in exciting ways. The pupils' understanding was also enhanced through the use of visual and manipulative materials. Their skills, attitudes, and values were also developed through the collaborative approach.